Parshat Naso, on enjoying the pleasures of this world and the blessing of children. The Torah understands that humans are fallible and thus tries to establish guidelines for the utmost purity. The running theme of this week's Torah portion, Parshat Naso, is holiness. The Torah is concerned with our everyday moral behavior due to the dual nature of our service to other people and to God through divine mandate and earthly obligation. Among the various complex issues introduced in this Parsha is the Nazarite, who takes 3 strict prohibitions upon himself: not to drink, not to cut his hair, and most essentially, not to become ritually impure. The Nazarite, in his singularly stark representation of an uncontaminated faith, presents a paradox. Judaism shuns asceticism, but the Nazarite must abide by a highly regimented code that restricts pleasure. And even more so, such an individual is considered both to be, quote, holy unto God for his spiritual commitment, yet is also commanded to bring a sin offering after his season of asceticism. Some suggest this action is due to the sin of denying himself the pleasures of the world. How do we reconcile the fascinating contradictions of the Nazarite? For if the Torah intends for us to reject asceticism, yet gives precious space to describing the obligation of an ascetic branch of the priesthood, there must be a deeper meaning to the text here. And of course there is, though it does delve into esoteric territory. The rabbis teach that one who embraces a path of asceticism to deny themselves the pleasures of this world is sinning. Rabbi Elazar HaKapar, the Rabbi, said, "Why does the Torah state and make atonement for him, for he sinned against the soul," in Numbers 6:8? Against what soul did the Nazir sin? It can only be because he denied himself wine. If then this man who did no more than deny himself wine is termed a sinner, how much more so is this true of one who is ascetic in all things? Ignoring a world that we are meant to enjoy goes against the values inherent in creation. Why would God create a world if God's creations are not meant to enjoy its splendor? Consequently, the rabbis teach that we are accountable to God if we do not enjoy the pleasures of this world. Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch pithily suggests that we will be accountable to God for the permitted pleasures of this world that we do not enjoy, and even asked at the gates of heaven, "Have you seen my Alps?" Now, it goes without saying that there's significant moral value in curbing your appetites and not pursuing every pleasure we dream of. The Nazarite in this stead is a subtle warning against extremity. We must be measured in every aspect of our life, from what we eat, to how we work, to how we conduct ourselves in sexual matters. And to be sure, the Torah imposes numerous restrictions upon food consumption, sexual conduct, and the tasks we can perform on Shabbat, among many others. Further, it doesn't hurt to take on a personal stringency based upon a religious and moral commitment. Parshat Naso, however, reminds us that we should never reject wholeheartedly what the world has to offer. But at the same time, we shouldn't succumb to every excessive opportunity. The prevailing Jewish orientation towards life is to embrace an ideology that is life-affirming and pleasure-affirming. We're not meant to retreat from the affairs of the world, nor are we to take unrestricted advantage of every delight that exists. Moderation of life's pleasures is critical, though we need not go to the lengths of the Nazarite to avoid temptation. We are to balance joy in life with healthy measures of holiness. And in this space, we truly experience wondrous opportunities for awe, reverence, and renewal. One of the greatest joys in life can be the blessing of children. In raising kids, most of us want them to have discipline, but also to be happy and enjoy life. We bless them not just with success and health, but also with happiness. Perhaps the most salient aspect of this parsha is that we read the priestly blessing in full for the first time. This blessing, known as Birkat Kohanim, connects the generations through its nature of transferring holiness through physical action. When traditionally performed, those with priestly status raise their hands to bless the congregation. This ritual is also replicated to an extent to every Shabbat, Birkat Habanim, when parents traditionally place their hands upon their children's head and say these words: "May God bless you and safeguard you. May God illuminate divine countenance for you and be gracious to you. May God lift divine countenance to you and establish peace for you." The Birkat Habanim like its liturgical cousin, has much to teach us about Judaism's most powerful idea, pursuing and actualizing peace. In the Torah portion of Bechukotai, found in Vayikra, in Leviticus, there's a verse that states that one can have everything, food, money, even health, but if one doesn't have peace, then nothing will be fulfilling or actualized. Additionally, one halachist says that Friday night is the best time to focus attention on the need of peace, since spiritual abundance flows throughout the evening. In turn, we channel that spiritual abundance to our children. The Chatam Sofer gives a more practical reason, stating that we are free from the hardships of the weekday, and we're able to focus on the blessing from a place of feeling open and calm. But it's not only parents who bless their children with peace. When we are fortunate, our children return that blessing to their parents. One Midrash explains that the Jewish people were worthy to receive the Torah on Shavuot, not because of our forefathers, but only because of our children. It says, when the Jews stood before Sinai to receive the Torah, God said to them, I swear I will not give you the Torah unless you provide worthy guarantors who will assure that you will observe its laws. The Jews responded, Master of the world, our forefathers will be our guarantors. God replied, bring proper guarantors, and only then will I give you the Torah. As a last resort, the Jews declared, our children will serve as our guarantors. They truly are worthy guarantors, God replied. Because of them, I will give the Torah. But why ultimately does the traditional blessing for children end with a blessing for peace, among other virtues? Simple. Peace doesn't represent merely the absence of conflict, but also a deeper spiritual state of connectedness and rootedness. It's the moral foundation to a good life and to a good society. Thus, in all we do, our blessings need to be bound up with peace. I cannot think of a regular ritual more important than to gather around one's table to welcome Shabbat, enjoy another's company, reflect on a challenging week, learn together, and bless one's children with peace. Of course, as important as the blessing for peace is, perhaps more important is to then create a home culture of peace that grounds our children for their life in love and holiness. Our children are our future. This statement is not merely a cliche, but a philosophical treatise of constant renewal. On a collective level, we place faith in our children to ensure that the Jewish people survives and flourishes. But on a more intimate, familial level, we seek to pass on our deepest and kindest values. This is why having children is one of the greatest acts of resistance against despair. If we are fortunate to have children and to have them present, let us not bestow blessings on them out of an obligation to fulfill the ritual. No, let's focus with deepest intentionality on this season's clarion call to live with peace, to seek peace, and transmit peace throughout the generations to come. Shabbat Shalom.